That's really interesting because you come from a place of lack in a sense,
Mhm.
but you perform well in sales when it wasn't your product to begin with,
Mhm.
right? So I
Mhm.
find that really just kind of like a disclaimer for those who are listening, because some of them are probably like, well, I've just been doing accounting my whole life, well, actual accounting my whole life. There's a new word for accounting.
Yeah.
I just realized I was like, wait. So let's say you're a bank teller. There you go.
Bank
So you're
teller.
a
There
bank
you go.
teller for your whole life, and now you're going to move into business.
Mhm.
It
Or
is a
like
little different.
construction or
Yeah,
something.
it is a little
Yeah.
different than having to like actually like have customer service, talk to them, talk to the people to sell something,
Yeah.
right? So there is those challenges, but I find that really interesting. So when you transferred into your own business, did that kind of naturally come with you?
The passion definitely does. There's always the fear of reaching out, and like, because again, super strong introvert. So just
Mm,
putting my own product out there is difficult for me,
mm,
which is why, but I had workarounds, right? So I would create a brand instead of me as the product. So it's Colorado Mastermind instead of David B. It's Travel Agents Co. instead of me, So
right.
that's how I get through that obstacle.
So it's interesting that you, in a sense, you were hiding behind your own brands.
Mhm.
I actually was just talking to someone today. We were going over her whole marketing, social media, and just how she's like posting other people's stuff. But it's
Mhm.
like, where are you? And
Mhm.
you're the expertise. Like you're the only one working actually in the business. People might want to actually see you and know about you and have
Mhm.
you instruct things, right?
Mhm.
Kind of got to get to know you before they decide to join your, X amount of dollar workshop.
Yeah.
And she said that I'm just not photogenic.
Oh.
Like, what? 'Cause I thought she was. I was
Oh.
like I was like, "Sweetheart, there are all sorts of different types and sizes and shades of humans out there online on video.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to say, but people are not gonna be looking at that necessarily."
Mhm.
I was
In
like,
fact, it's even more helpful,
"It
honestly.
is."
So
Yeah.
when everyone's like polished and perfect and like they're not relatable, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
that speaker on the stage versus the person that's just a few steps ahead of you, right?
Yeah.
And so, it was just so interesting that she said that, and I was like, "You're hiding behind your brand. You know,
Mhm.
you're not really showing you at all. You're just showing your products and your brand, and you can do that,
Mhm.
but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get things moving, especially if you're the one conducting workshops and educating and consulting with them." I was
Absolutely.
like,
Mhm.
if you're so forward with your customers, then you need to be there. And I just thought that was so interesting. So her fears of showing up and being in front of her business was definitely an insecure thing.
Mhm.
But money wise, she was doing just fine. So I think that's really interesting. All the battles we have to deal with as an entrepreneur, we have
Mhm.
to deal with the fear of showing up as ourselves and people finding you worthy and then actually give you money for it. And so
Yeah.
it's like, and then you actually having to manage those finances, right? It's like all these traumas and fears have so many ways to get in your way
Absolutely.
to really fuck you up. It's like,
Yeah.
thanks, childhood.
Yeah. Thanks, childhood.
When you talk to your clients, because you work with people walking through like building a landing page and let's set up your actual business account, things like that. What money fears have you found to be pretty popular among your clients?
All of them.
Every single damn one.
Every single one. Like, is this too expensive? Can I afford this? Will people pay me? Uh, and then what I see probably most often people do is instead of addressing the fear that they have, is they'll focus on an insignificant detail.
Yeah.
And so they'll put like, well, I need to create a logo for my company and I can't decide on the logo design. And it's like, well, no one's gonna care about your logo.
Yeah.
Like, really, what they care about is you asking them to buy from you. Like, that's what it comes down to. You've got the product, you've got the knowledge. If you don't ask people to learn from you, you're not going to make any money and you're not going to help people.
Yeah.
Worrying about the the font on the website doesn't actually help the customer, the
Look,
client.
if it's eligible, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not some weird like cursive where it's in like Hindi for an American for like a English audience, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. I have a good analogy for that because I have three categories of how people are, and it's totally like you could be in one category in one area of your life, and you could be in another category. So the three categories is the cyclist, someone who's on a stationary bike and just keeps cycling and cycling and cycling and literally goes nowhere, but keeps talk. Basically, this is the talker, someone who just keeps talking about it but never actually does anything. Then you have the Ferris wheel. So this is somebody who gets on the Ferris wheel and it's like they're moving, they're doing stuff, but they're also still going in a circle. When they get to the top of the Ferris wheel, they see the horizon. They're like, that's where I'm going, guys. I'm so excited to get off this Ferris wheel. And so they're fixing the font. They're doing the logo. They're doing all that stuff. When it's time to finally get off, they're like, no, we need to go around one more time. And so they're still doing stuff, but they're not actually going anywhere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then there's the person that's actually walking, and they're actually walking to the horizon and getting things done. So like at the gym, you could be a cyclist. You could say, yeah, I'm going, but you never do, like me. And then you could like, when it comes to actually like starting to create things and do things, I'll do that. But then when it comes to like talking about relationships, I'll be on the Ferris wheel, right? So there's certain areas in your life where that is. And I think in actually process of a business, you could be on the Ferris wheel. And especially like what you're talking about, getting stuck in the details, and that's the Ferris wheel. So easy to continue to try and perfect things, but it's never going to be perfect. It's really about reaching out, having conversations, and asking for the sale.
And it's just kind of like we talked about on our last episode about vices. It's, are you hiding from the thing that you don't want to do? Like, are you using writing another blog that you don't release as an escape from actually releasing it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So for those who are listening, and for myself, I'm making a mental note. Write down all the things that you are really avoiding and doing and don't want to do, and just like do them anyway.
And then just do them.
And
Man, just go do it. We fixed it. We fixed everything.
Exactly. I'm not saying you should do everything in your business and or career, but what I'm saying is just like you're not doing something for a reason, and it's not, maybe some of those things are not just because you're not good at them. If you're not proficient, then outsource. But if there are things where you're like, I really don't want to do it because that actually terrifies me, then probably should do it.
Or find some way to get help to get it done.
Exactly.
Yeah. See what kind of workarounds there are, because that's my favorite, is whether it's hiring a coach and having the coach hold your hand, or just the act of investing in a coach to really motivate you to get it done. Or is there, wasn't it you who gave your friend money? Like you said, hey, I'm going to give you $100. And if every time I make one of these sales calls, give me $10 back. You didn't do something like that?
No, but that's a great idea.
Yeah. I guess I heard it somewhere else. But it's like, if there's something you really don't, take an uncomfortable amount of money, give it to your friend, and say, I'm going to earn this back with each action I take towards my goal.
Oh, I kind of did something like that, but it wasn't in that modeling. It was my friend Renee over in Florida. We both had the same publisher. And it was like, she's a no bullshit kind of gal. Like, she used to be a college coach for a soccer team. So I was like, she's going to yell at me. So there's this, I forget what it's called, guys. I'm so sorry. But there is this software at the time that you would pair your accountability partner, and it had a deadline to things. So like, you had to get this done or this done or this done every month or something like that. And if you didn't, it would automatically send money to your friend. So I made it $50 a month, and at the time that was actually quite a bit. Most of the months I got it done, and I had like a year on there or something, and 2 months I missed. So she did make $100 off me. But it actually was a kind of a cool little motivator to get things moving and done, because she had to authorize that I did it. So you want somebody who's ethical. But yeah, it was one of those things, and I couldn't necessarily cancel it easily. I had to
Okay.
like go through customer service, and there was a whole thing if I wanted to cancel it.
I had to pick up the phone and call to cancel it, and I
Yeah,
wasn't going to do
for
that.
$50, a lot of people aren't going to do that,
I
right?
know.
And but
Yeah,
some
I know.
people were putting down like $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month to get
Mhm.
shit done.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a niche in the market for accountability.
So, for all of our listeners, we're volunteering to be your accountability buddies. If you would like to pay us
Yes, let's all
to.
sign you up for that. And $50 a month. There we go. But I think this is where even like they call like support groups, masterminds, sometimes they can
Yeah.
be a piece of that accountability. And coaches can be,
Mhm.
but I feel like what you do is kind of a accountability
It
consulting in a
completely.
sense.
Yeah. And so, with my master group, specifically, one of the reasons I started it, I didn't have a real goal. I just wanted people around. And having it monthly, just the fact that we would say, hey, here's what I'm going to work on for the next month. Coming back to that next meeting and not having the thing done, like 90% of the people did it the day before the next meeting.
Oh yeah.
you know?
I'm that way with my clients sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did everything 4 hours before.
Yeah. We've got a full month to get this done, but I did it last night and this morning.
Yeah,
But just that
exactly.
meeting was enough to really progress me and a lot of our community as well.
That is really cool. Because even what you do with your business, literally sit down with people,
Mhm.
and I even watched you do this where you set up a business identity in Colorado. Like
Mhm.
you went to the state secretary's website and all that stuff, and you just
Yeah.
walked her through how to set up your identity, and then you do
Mhm.
that with landing pages and so on. And sometimes I feel like um, that is needed. Like if I could pay someone
Yeah.
to literally walk me through to edit certain videos,
Mhm.
that would be so valuable. Because I
Yeah,
think it's
because
a
it's.
comfort thing, right?
Mhm.
It's totally a comfort thing. They don't feel like they're secure and confident enough to do this, so they need like the expert to show them and then do it with you, and then eventually they go away and you can do it yourself, right?
Yeah, and a lot of, like, the landing page editing stuff, it's really easy. It's just when we don't know what we're clicking on,
Mm,
it's so time consuming and tedious. Like, you showed me a bunch of stuff on Canva the other day,
mhm.
and I could go through and click on Canva forever, but the fact of you showing me, here's this, and here's this, sped up my knowledge by, like, weeks, you know?
And that's all on YouTube, but you didn't do YouTube. You needed someone
No.
to literally sit down and show you. So it's
Yeah.
almost like business tutoring in a
Yeah.
way, right? It's kind of
Ooh,
like
I
sitting
like
down
that.
and doing, business tutoring.
Yeah.
Hey, don't take it, anyone. I want it. I'm just kidding. You can take it. But yeah, it's almost like business tutoring. And I feel like with sales, that's kind of a tricky one, right?
Mhm.
But I think the idea of, I mean, I even did this with my coach, it was role play.
Mhm.
And even my accountability partner in that coaching program, we role play.
Mhm.
And it was just like that practice factor, right?
Yeah.
And I was converting a little bit more in the beginning just because I had been in business per se
Mhm.
for a while, and she's brand new. But I remember her always saying, I'm so glad that we're practicing in person because I'm going to go practice in real life. And I was like, you're going to go practice in real life? How cool is that to say
Yeah.
that? She's like, I just need to practice more with more people. So she would go and market for more people. And it kind of took off this weight of making the sale for her. But
Yeah.
at the same time, she needed to learn how to convert at a higher percentage.
Mhm.
So if it's interesting, I kind of wonder what other ways, if you have any ideas of like, how would you kind of have that tutoring model with sales?
I I love scripting, honestly. I love scripts and I love, like you said, role playing. Finding ways to practice your scripting in a very low impact or like a low
Low
stakes,
pressure.
low
Yeah.
pressure.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, because a lot of people, what they do is they'll start their company or they'll get this idea, they'll get this thing, and then they'll want to go sell it to their perfect client, and they're not ready to
Hmm.
sell to that perfect client yet. So if you can get like a list of leads, right? So pay $10, get 100 names, practice just calling them because it's not, and then it's not about getting a sale. It's about practicing to hear what objections people might have. And I think it's actually what's more important is getting rid of the thing that we think are going to be objections
Yeah.
that never come up.
Yeah. Right? Oh, but the color's blue and not aqua blue.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, what if
get
they
over
say
it.
this? What if they don't like that? No one's going to
You
do
know,
that.
I remember seeing or hearing a quote. I can't remember who it was, but they said in sales, your fears about the sale is more about you, of course, than it is about them. And you're
Yeah,
sitting over here not asking for the sale, meaning you're not giving them the opportunity to change their life.
absolutely. Yeah,
So, in a sense, you're the bad guy
yeah.
because you decide to lean in with your fears rather than to lean in on their wants.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, I've been a bad villain my whole life, you know.
Add some
But
more, sprinkle some more shame on
just
those.
gotta grow a mustache and we're
Things,
ready to
yeah.
go. You know, yeah, I thought that quote really just changed how I thought of things. I was like, I am literally hindering their opportunity to change their lives because I'm afraid of my own insecurities.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
And when
really
you
true.
kind of remove it away from you, that
Mhm.
does change the perspective.
So, Miss Anastasia,
Yeah.
what what would you say is your number one takeaway from today's conversation?
My number one takeaway is that list. Yeah, I think I need to write that list of things I'm not engaging in because of whatever reason.
Mhm.
And even though I want to and I'm not doing it, and really sit in and realize it's a lot of fears that I just need to confront
Okay.
and take courage to go through them.
So, you might not notice, but you've said this is the answer on our last few episodes.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
still ain't doing it because
Yeah.
I am procrastinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big shift for me, my friend.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it. It's just
Okay.
you know.
Are you doing okay?
Personally, no, like actually the last 3 days has been very, very lethargic and sad and depressing and sleeping a lot.
Mhm.
So I'm moving through something.
Mhm.
So I'm just excited for when I'm finally done with it and I can get to the other side and start doing it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but no, I'm good. I'm just yeah. It has been the last like few episodes. That's so sad. Wake up
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
I've just been called out on my own podcast.
Yeah. That's why we're doing this.
So keep that in, I guess.
This will be behind the scenes, maybe. Yeah.
Nah, whatever. So, David, what is your number one takeaway from this conversation?
Actually, mine is I do need to put my brand and my asks out there. I need to put my products more upfront. Because I'm so like casual about everything,
Hmm.
like all my business stuff, which has been fine. But like I'm at the point where I need to start ramping things up. And it was a good kind of refresher to talk about. Don't worry about what other people are going to think. You just have to put it out there because what I do is valuable, and I've been getting a lot of really good feedback lately.
Hmm.
Like I have a client, and she was so nice to me. Like she gave me the nicest compliment I think I've ever had, and it reinforced the skill set that I developed in retail because I was always the best, and that's one of the reasons I got so angry and quit was because it's like if I can work this hard for some corporation that cares about me 0%, why can't I work this hard for myself? So that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the next few weeks or months here.
Nice. Well, thanks
Cool.
everyone for
Yeah.
joining in on another episode of IDK WTF podcast.
Yeah.
But we'll see you next time on our next episode of IDK WTF
Thanks, everyone.
podcast.
And whoever you are my favorite person.
Just had to slide that in there, didn't you?
Slide it right in there.
Thank you for listening to another episode of I Don't Know What the Fuck I'm Doing podcast.
We can't do this without you, and to reward you for your support, we would like to invite you to something unique.
Go to beacons.ai/IDKWTF to schedule a complimentary 15-minute phone call with one of us.
You can also find a link in the description.
We're here to brainstorm with you on different solutions for your business or life.
We want to hear your feedback about our podcast or even just schedule some time to say hi.
Not only that, but anyone who chats with us will get a voucher for $100 in restaurant coupons.
Schedule some time today, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode.